welcome back to another episode of Desire to Inspire, your mama's favorite podcast, but it also might be your daddy's favorite podcast.
It's probably honestly not his favorite.
No, not his, but you know, the daddies out there.
It's my daddy, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the one, the only Tommie T joining us today for our podcast here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
He might witness his son die in air if I keep
First time ever.
First time ever in North Carolina?
Passed through, but first time visiting.
How you liking it so far?
So far, so good.
What's your favorite thing?
The
I
heat.
haven't even done
Okay. You're a Heat fan?
Love the heat.
Oh, man, I was just in Dallas, and it was 106 when I got in, and it was miserable.
Yeah, see, I love the heat, but I don't know. We get too much snow there, so I won't complain when it's warm.
Yep, understand that. Yeah, it's supposed to be 115 in Dallas tomorrow. So I was like, oh, I'm kind of glad that I'm leaving that.
Yeah.
That's a little excessive.
It's probably like rainy and 60 at the house right now. So
Yeah, I guess I would take 115 over the rain. I hate the
for
rain.
sure.
Me too, dude. I fucking hate rain.
For sure.
How's it feel to visit your boy in a new city?
Not bad. Not bad.
Do you like this one more than Denver? Or do they each have their own little... Or you haven't seen enough,
we haven't
probably.
done
enough.
anything.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen enough. Denver's a pretty special place.
You know what we did all day? He just hung up all of our stuff at our apartment.
So,
Pretty much since he
Because-
got here.
There's 2 prima donnas living in that apartment.
We just, we like to make him feel like he's useful.
I think he knows that he is.
yeah, is what it is. I had one son, one daughter. What can you do?
Dylan's the daughter.
No, bro.
I always tell him that Jacob's more of a man than him,
But he's never met Jacob.
I've never
so, like,
met
he only
Jacob.
hears things.
Yeah. Jacob is a YouTube certified everything. Like, he will look up anything. Or he'll call and say, how do I do this? So he's not afraid to attack anything.
I'm excited to meet him because I told him
Never met Jacob?
never.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're like the only one, actually.
Oh, wow.
Even
Yeah.
Matt's met him.
Yep. And I've only met your mom a handful of times, but I can only remember like one time when I was actually introduced to her. And that was when I thought for sure that Tommie T hated my absolute guts.
Wasn't it camping?
No.
I met her at camping, but it was just one of those like informal things.
Oh, okay.
Hey, this is
No,
Freddie.
he showed up at the house when I'm not there. You don't come in another man's house when he's not there.
We already talked last week. This was getting brought up.
I'm kidding. That was something my dad always said, so it sticks,
He said that you never show up to a man's house when he's not there.
Correct.
Even with
Correct.
your adult children.
Correct. Like, it was just one of them things. He was very...
It wasn't like I was in high school. Like I was in my
He
20s.
was very...
Yeah, no, it was after high school.
100%.
He didn't want mom coming around like,
Yeah, but that's because mom was brown.
well,
I thought you were brown for the longest.
yeah, I know.
He looks brown.
I am.
He does.
Yeah. Eddie says I'm chocolate, so... But
I wish people would say I was chocolate.
You're like milk, like white chocolate.
Yeah, I know.
these are tattoos, man. It'll,
I got a couple. I got to fill it in.
yeah,
I got to bring it down a little bit lower.
might as well.
When did you start getting tattoos?
30.
Yeah.
30?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. So you went all in a short time?
Yeah, my mom and dad would have killed me.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Were they still around when you got them?
His mom.
Dad was gone. Mom was there, but she
Okay.
very much was reluctant.
Which is your favorite one?
Parent or
At this-
tattoo?
At this point, it's just a giant mess, so it's like, whatever.
All right. Was that uncommon for people your age to get tattoos?
No.
No?
No, it was just uncommon for somebody in my house to get a tattoo.
You guys are probably like the first generation like regularly get tattoos. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, was there a lot of people like your parents' age getting
No,
tatted?
I don't remember too many older folks than me with tattoos.
Yeah.
Maybe one, but But yeah.
Yeah, when I got my first one, it was for my Nana back here. And it's actually cool because Justin drew that tattoo when we were younger. And he was like, one day we're going to get this tattoo together for Nana, this and that. And I was like, oh,
And he
I
hasn't
like
got
that.
it?
He hasn't got it. But I came home
course.
and my mom was cleaning up the living room. This was after my dad was already gone because he probably would have killed me on the golf course if I would have showed him that tattoo. And so I come home and I turn around as my mom is like cleaning out the living room. Was he still around? I don't think he was. And she's like bent over picking up a blanket and I just had like my shirt off and I turned around and she saw that and she gasped. She didn't
tell
say
him?
a word for like 30 minutes. And I was like, Mom, look at it. Like, there's meaning behind it. And I started explaining for Nana, for Uncle Marky, because there's like a breast cancer and a leukemia symbol in the rose stem instead of thorns. And
Justin's an artist.
I think that's the only thing he's ever drawn.
I thought you were gonna say the only thing he's good at. I was like, God damn, bro.
Yeah, he, God, I love that sound. But yeah, he drew that, so that was my first one. And then I got my second one, which is kind of like after my dad passed away, how I like view life. And so my Aunt Tammy, Justin's mom, my sister, and my dad are all kind of incorporated in this, and it's like a stopwatch, and there's a crack through it on the 8 and the 12 for like the date he passed away, but I just did as the time. And then it's like all about the moments and memories and creating like pretty much all of that through staying loyal to family. There's a chain on it. There's a whole story behind it. So there was that one, and then I just got this one on my chest from my dad. That one's solely dedicated to him, and it was like a note that he had wrote me in high school, and I was going through like a super bad just mental state, probably 5 years after he passed away. And it was just like I was beating myself up like, God, I wish he could see this. Like, he never got to see any of the success that I had like after high school, into college, now moving to Dallas, like all this stuff. And so it was something that I was keeping him internally. And I found this old scrapbook from high school, and he had wrote me a letter one of my last days playing football. And I just read it, and I just broke down, started crying, and everyone's like, "Are you good?" And I like couldn't speak for like 30 minutes. But there was the one saying that's now on this tattoo of like how proud he is, the man I'm becoming, keep my head on my shoulders, I'll go far in life, this and that. And I was like, whew, I needed to hear that. And so from that day forward, I kind of used that as that motivation and him speaking to me, because there's really not many other like tangible memories that I can look back on.
Right. How old were you when he passed?
I was 19, about to turn 20. And
he was how old?
He was 56.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was one of those things, and I think I've told Dylan and talked about it on here, where it was like I was almost 21 transitioning into manhood, and like everything that he taught me, everything that he instilled in me, I was going to go and take off into the world and like show him what I could do from what him and my mom instilled in me. And so it always like made me struggle that he can't see me graduate when I had to walk my sister down the aisle, like all of these things. And it's like, why the fuck does somebody so young have to go through this? Like, I believe in God, I believe in heaven and hell, like all of that, and I'm gotten a lot closer to it over the years, but like there's still just something with me, like, why the fuck does somebody that young have to pass away? And even though it was the worst day of my life, it was the best day of my life in the sense of how I view life now and the motives and drives that I go after.
Wow.
So
yeah, I didn't know this was going to be a sentimental episode.
I didn't know it was either.
And we're about 7
We're only
minutes
8
in.
minutes in.
You know, with that being said, though, like you talk about what your dad said and stuff, it's like my old man I never once heard my old man say he was proud of me for anything. I mean, when he died, he was 65. I was, I was 26 maybe, 26. And so Jacob was a baby. Jacob was born in 96. My dad died in 97. And in 96, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And I remember, like, you know, I mean, I couldn't button my pants. You know, my hands weren't working right. I couldn't reach up and adjust a mirror. I couldn't, you know, it just seemed like my limbs, my feet and hands more than anything were just failing me. Mm-hmm. And he had just had carotid artery surgery, diagnosed with cancer, and he would go mow the grass at the church. Like at this time, the building wasn't back there, but it was still 5 acres of land, and he'd go back there and mow this. Well, now he was, you know, getting so bad that he couldn't sit on the machine. So I was like, I'll do it. Well, I couldn't hold the steering wheel, so I would like lay my forearms on the steering wheel and just like, you know, run this thing. And I remember we were coming home from the church, and I was like, I just don't understand, like, why? You're 65 years old. Like, I'm 26 at that time. I said, it's not that much older than me. Mm-hmm. Why is that happening to you? Why is this happening to me? Why is my body failing me? And he looked at me. We were in his Ranger. He had a 93 Ranger at the time.
Yeah.
So, and at that time...
Oh, you localized this? Why is this happening to him?
Yeah. We were in the truck, and I mean, it was a extended cab Ranger, and at that time, I was a little bit more Tommie T than is sitting before you now. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know, I mean, this truck looked like it had tinted windows. And I'm like, why is this happening? I had, probably had a mullet at that time, and and he's like, why not? What makes you any better than anybody else? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? You're right. Like, why should you know, my path be easy, I guess, you know? But yeah, and I mean, you know, some people be like, man, your dad's an asshole or whatever, but I mean, that's just the way he thought. He's like, why not you? You know, he said, you don't think I ever thought that for me? I was telling Dylan and Justin that today. It's like, you know, he said, oh, you know, when I was going through this and that, people say, oh, it's suffering. He said, no, what's suffering is watching other people come and cut my grass, or other people come and do stuff around the house. That's suffering, you know?
Damn.
And I'm like, wow. You know, but that's the way my dad was. He was just...
That's that old school mentality. That's what...
Yeah, and listen, then he's like... smoking a cig. I'm like, bro, you're... Like, they gave you 6 months. What do you want to make it 4?
I mean, at that point, you might as well enjoy it, though.
Like, yeah, man, you know, whatever.
I know somebody, their grandmother got diagnosed, and she had been smoking for like 60-plus years, and the doctor was like, honestly... Don't quit smoking, because if you do, it'll probably kill you faster than if you were to keep smoking.
Plus, you'll be miserable. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. How did that transition into... Because I feel like that's what the world needs nowadays, is that honest opinion, and I feel like we sugarcoat shit too much.
Yeah, but I don't feel that this day and age is ready for that. I mean, I think that maybe at one
But they're not, because it's faded.
Yeah,
it's faded.
Maybe at one time that was... You know, maybe at one time that would have been...
Because I feel like we got that, honestly.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But I feel like my whole generation got it like that. It wasn't like it was just isolated to me. It's just like slowly weaned off, and I don't know where that came.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, it was just a different time back then. And I mean, I'm not trying to date myself, but it was definitely, you know, a different time.
Hell yeah.
And like coming up in the, you know, having kids in the 90s, you know, me and Miss Thacker just starting out, it's like you're just overwhelmed. And like I couldn't imagine what my dad and them went through when they were having kids. And he had 6.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And it was my mom, 5 girls, and then me. So he was probably ready to shoot himself.
Yeah,
I guarantee that. He was probably like, fuck this.
That's why he was so busy.
Yeah.
He stayed out of the house.
Stayed gone. You know, they worked 10-hour days. He'd come home from work, go across the street, work in the garden. So
Damn.
I don't ever remember him throwing a football with me. I don't ever remember him playing catch with a baseball glove with me. I don't remember no sports. I wasn't allowed to play football, baseball, none of that. Like
before he got sick, did you have like fond memories with him though?
I mean, I shared that memory with you guys last week, but it wasn't like, I mean, we weren't besties by no stretch.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to make me something, and I much rather wanted to be what my mom was trying to make me.
He wanted you to be like him?
I was a mama's boy, huh?
He wanted you to be like him?
He wanted me to be more, I'm sure he wanted me to be more manly, but I was not. I mean, I was a mama's boy for sure.
Yep.
But then I think there at the end, you know, the house that they lived in, I grew up in, they had one bathroom. When we moved in, they only had one bathroom, and it was in the basement. Like, so I can't remember what they called it back then, but it was basically a bowl. You just peed in a bowl.
It's a horrible bathroom.
You said
right. No, but I'm talking.
Yeah,
about,
she lived there until she died.
Oh, damn.
But I'm talking about upstairs at that time.
Yeah.
It was a duplex, I guess.
Oh, you just had a bowl upstairs?
Yeah, when we first moved in.
I'm at the basement.
It
Sucked.
in the bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, but I can't remember what they called it. But anyway,
I just peed outside.
Yeah, he was. But I mean, I was 6, maybe 5 or 6 when we moved over there. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know any better. But so anyway, towards the end, it was either downstairs or upstairs. We had a bathroom at that point, but he needed something. He couldn't go up and downstairs, so he had to have a bathroom. So me and one of his buddies, we took the back porch. It was a screened-in back porch, and we walled it off and made a bathroom there for him. And it was
That porch was that big?
Yeah. It was just a screened-in back porch, and we did a toilet and a sink. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was fairly big. It was bigger than, about as big as our bathroom upstairs, I would say, at the house. 6 by 8 maybe.
Okay.
And I remember he put quarter round on everything. So if he jerry rigged something around and it didn't look right, he would just put a piece of molding up there or something, you know. So where we put the wall in, there was a piece of quarter round that went all around the ceiling, and I cut that thing loose and just I put an angle in it so I could run another piece. And this dude went off on me. You shouldn't have done that. I like just. You know, his buddy's standing there. It was embarrassing for me at that time. I'm 26 years old. I'm just trying to help,
Yep.
you know. So I was like, you know what? You're right. When you get it figured out, you let me know. I'm going to go. And I just walked home. I only lived a few blocks away. Mm-hmm. And evidently his buddy must have told him, look, man, you were wrong. You shouldn't have been like that, whatever. So he called me that night. The only time in my life I ever remember him apologizing to me for anything. He's like, you're right. You know, you were just planning for another cut, like up to the wall we built. And
do you think he only apologized because he was on limited time?
Yeah, probably because Shorty called.
But he was also already on limited time, right? Like, he knew he was sick.
I don't know that would have mattered. I don't know. He would have probably been like, but I mean, we just didn't have that relationship. Like, he knew I loved him. I knew he loved me, but it was never vocalized.
But how do you know if it's, because I feel like this is a very common thing of your generation. And we talked about this last week, is that I've never had that worry because you're a very open and vulnerable dude.
It's not like he never told me. Like, he would tell me at, like, Thanksgivings or Christmases, he'd get a little sentimental. I love you. Daddy loves you or whatever.
Yep.
And...
So was he harder on you than your sisters?
Sure. For sure.
Like, he would vocalize that to them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And they knew, they knew I was the chosen one, I guess, so to speak, being the boy. But they all will tell you.
And the youngest.
I was a tomboy, and, Tom Thacker raised me this way, or he did this. I'm like, listen, did he hem you up against the wall in the garage and threaten to beat your ass with a 2x4? I didn't think so. You know what I'm saying? And my old man was 5'7", at his heaviest, maybe 177 pounds.
Damn.
He wasn't a big dude by any stretch.
Yeah.
And I mean...
Where'd you get your height from?
I was 177 pounds in 5th grade. You know what I'm saying? I was a big boy.
Damn.
Like, for years. I was 6'2", 250 pounds plus. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it didn't sway him. He didn't care.
Who's the tall one, though? Because you got it and me and Jacob both got it.
So, evidently, from what I can gather, is his dad was tall, and just a couple of his brothers were tall.
You never met them?
I didn't know them. I met a couple of them, but, I mean... You got to figure, man, when I was turning, through my teen years, they were all dying off the scene. They were all, and they weren't old. That's the thing of it. They weren't old. They just worked in the coal mines, and they lived a life that was whiskey, nicotine, and coal dust.
Hell of a life, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen to the episode, bro.
Whiskey, nicotine, and coal dust.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to this. I'm going to take a quick note because I'm going to just say 30 analogy. So the concept of the next question I'm going to have for you is around the 30s, but how people died sooner than they do nowadays. But we've talked on here how society blames their parents for so much of why things are wrong and why things didn't work out and this and that. And you could have went down that path with your dad. I didn't have the relationship. I didn't have the I love yous, the hugs, the this, the that. And from a parent standpoint, they're doing the best they can based off of the blueprint they were given. So your father, your mother instilled something in you, that some things you wanted to pass on to your kids, some things you didn't want your kids to experience, et cetera, et cetera. And knowing how good of a relationship you and Dylan have, which I imagine Jacob's the same way with his grandkids and everything, is there stuff from your parents that you can vividly remember, like, I do not want my kids to have to go through this or see life this way? Or what was that dynamic like, taking your upbringing and then instilling it into the next lineage of your family? Like, did you want to tailor it a specific way based off of how you were raised? And not saying that your parents were bad.
Right.
But
good question, because I had the same one.
Oh, beautiful.
It's already written down.
So, like, for me, I had my dad as an example. And listen, I don't care what my old man was like to me. Everybody looks at their dad like this guy's Superman. Like, he's just going to bust his shirt open, and the cape's going to come flowing, and it's going to be whatever. And he had a nephew. I call him my uncle. He's older than me, so I've always just referred to him as my uncle. He's 84 years old, but he's technically my first cousin. Mm-hmm. These two dudes, by far, two of the manliest men I know. Character, like, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, this dude Irvin I'm talking about, one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet. Like, I've got to be a better person just for having known this guy my whole life.
That gives away how hillbilly we are.
Yeah.
Irvin.
I like it.
Irvin Martin. So, I listened to that, and it's just like, I wasn't allowed to do anything. I told you that. So, I always told Ange, I said, look, if the boys want to play soccer, they want to play baseball, they want to play football, they want to do, at that time I didn't play golf. So I'm like, whatever they want to do, I'm going to give them the opportunity. If they want to dance, I'm going to give them the opportunity.
He's legit not allowed to play sports. Like, even if he wanted to, they wouldn't.
Yeah, like, I did intramural basketball, probably elementary school, which really isn't, it's just, that's like after school boys and girls type deal now, I guess.
Yep.
And school let out back then at 3:10. You're there for an hour, 2 hours. And my mom, the first day, she's like, you'll not go back there. Do you know what time it is? I'm like,
the first day.
I'm like, yeah. I mean, you told me I could play. You ain't playing now. I didn't know it was going to be this long.
Did
so
they make you work? Like later? Did they
He was
make
in
you?
elementary school.
No, I'm saying like later, like even like throughout high school. Did they make you work instead of?
No.
Oh,
I
just didn't want
I
you.
didn't have to. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But so anyway, getting into having our own kids, I told Ange, I was like, they're going to be able. If they want to do it, they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the only stipulation is, if you tell me you want to start baseball, and you hate it, you're going to finish that season. You're going to finish it out. If you start it, you're going to finish it.
Yep.
I don't care if you hate it. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling. If you start it, you're going to finish it. Football, soccer, whatever. So then you get to where I start getting a little bit older. It's probably like 12. And there's a boy that his brother is way older than me, but I thought he was the coolest dude. Long hair. Billy Hillinger was this dude's name. Well, his brother Russ was a paper boy. And Russ was getting ready to get a job, so he needed to give up this paper route. So I was like, I need this paper route. So they let me run a paper route because they said, well, teach me responsibility. So, and it was one of them deals where, listen, they would drop the paper at my house at 4 a.m. in the morning. They just dumped 2 bundles of papers on my front porch. And back then you had to roll them, rubber band them, stick them in your bag.
You had to do that shit yourself?
Rubber band them, stick them in a bag, yeah. And listen, number one, I'd have to call downtown. Yeah, this is Tommie Thacker. I'm route so-and-so. I'm going to need 2 bags of rubber bands. I'm going to need a new journal bag. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need whatever. I need plastic to put the rolls in. So you had to go through all this. So they figured to work with me. So I ran that paper route from 11 to 15 and a half because back then I could work at 15 and a half. And then at 15 and a half.
You could run a paper route at 11 years old?
I did. Me and Karen. As long as I did it with my sister, they let me do it.
Okay.
So me and Karen did it. I did one street. She did the other street. And then there was a house across the street. Like,
how much you get paid for that?
Well, it was funny because back then, and it's weird that I can still remember these numbers, but for 2 weeks of the Journal, which was the Lorraine Journal, which is our local city newspaper, it was $3.70 for 1 week. So if you double that, it was $7.40 for 2 weeks for the newspaper. I mean, what's a newspaper cost now? $1.25?
Yeah.
A day. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, you have the 2 streets. I think total we had 43 customers. So you had 21 on either block that had paper. That does not necessarily every house got paper, but then there was one big giant house across the street. My sister's like, I'm not crossing 31st Street. You can have that one. So and she's like, plus they got 2 German Shepherds. I'm like, okay, whatever.
The house in the corner?
Yeah, and that was Chavez. Do you remember them?
I don't
The lady.
I mean, I know the dogs, but I don't know.
The lady was a teacher at Southview for a little bit. Her brother, one of them, and her other sister was subs for Southview. So they were like the family in Lorraine at that time. So Christmas time, hooked me up with like a good Christmas bonus.
Hell yeah.
A box of Pharaoh's chocolate candies and a card with money in it. You know what I'm saying? The only thing they asked is that I open the gate, went in about 50 feet, and opened their door and put the paper in the door. I got you.
Yep.
So, yeah, I made sure I did that. And then when Karen got a job, then it was my responsibility to do the whole paper route. But, yeah, my folks were like, they didn't want me doing anything extracurricular or whatever. If I wanted a job, I could get a job. But when I got a job, then they didn't pay me gas money. I had to put my own gas money in the car or whatever. I mean, I can remember riding my bike to work sometimes.
What was your first car?
77 Buick LeSabre.
Okay.
4-door, 2-tone blue. Crushed velvet interior. Had a clock on the dash about 6 inches.
Hell yeah.
Miss Thacker loved the back seat of that car.
Hey, there's probably a lot of room.
Oh, there was.
Imagine trying to get busy in the backseat of my car right now.
Hell no.
Done it, but it ain't so.
6'2", right?
Yep.
Angie, 5 foot.
Yep.
That's giving her an inch.
So those cars back then,
I was gonna say might be a little shorter.
100% bench seat up front. So when Angie started driving, she's like, hey, I got my temps. Can I drive? Sure. So she'd reach down, pull the lever, scoot all the way up.
So now, put both all the way up.
So now, bro, I'm 6'2". I'm like, okay. Like, just, but then when I'm driving, she's
in the back seat.
She's just chilling. Yeah.
She got all the room.
So, but I mean, I don't know. I don't want to give my parents a bad rap because, listen, and I know my boys will probably say, look, my dad was hard about this, this, and this, and they think we probably dropped the ball on things, and I'm sure we did, but we did the best that we could do.
Yep.
And I feel like there were so many instances in my life where I thought to myself, this stupid-ass old man, like, how dare him, And then when I got to be 30-ish, in my 30s.
It's about to transition right in.
You know what I'm saying? Once I hit my 30s, it's kind of like, yeah, he had only been dead for 4 years. But I could hear, yeah. That's all. He'd be like, they. That was his thing. They. Who's they, bro? Like, and
he was ahead of his time.
Like I would, you know, I would do something with the boys where I thought, you know what, this is 100% on me and Ange, 100%. And then they would just buck against it, and I'm like, I would just hear, hey, and I would know, bro. Like, listen, he wasn't as dumb as he let on.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knew some things. You know what I'm saying? And up until the very moment, my mom, I thought my mom was just some crazy old hillbilly lady. But there at the end, Mama had it all. Like, she had things laid out for us. You know, like, she wasn't as dumb as everybody thought she was, or you know, portrayed her to be.
Yep.
So getting into my 30s, I was like, okay, now we need to readjust some things, whatever. And it was, you know, I mean, we gave Dylan probably far too much freedom than we should have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I was a little bit more reserved with Jacob, I think, because here Dylan is, you know, he was like, talk to anybody, outgoing, friends. And I could see that, like, because I'm that way.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob would sit in his room, and he was so happy to do just that, you know?
Yep.
And it was just like, so then when he started sports, it was, you know, Jacob and I, and he would condition for wrestling, and I'd cook us dinner, we'd have dinner. It was just Jacob and I. Dylan was like off doing his thing. Me and Jacob was just buddies, just chilling at the crib, you know? And I'm just like, I'm sure that these two boys, they probably think, man, Dad dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? They totally dropped the ball. And listen, all I can say is when you have kids, you're gonna have your opportunity.
Oh yeah,
to drop the ball,
make it work.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But it's funny because Angie and I will talk, and like Jacob texts us, and he's like, he's putting up Christmas stuff, and he's like, man, I was putting up, and this was after my mom passed, and he's like, man, we were putting up Christmas decorations, and me and Addie was hanging this, and you know, there was this thing of Mama, and then, you know, we started talking about Mama and Papa, and then, you know, he's trying to explain to the kids, and I remember hanging up the phone, I looked at Angie just like sobbing, and I was like, he gets it. Mm-hmm. Like, he gets it. He knows that no matter what, like, there were people put in his way throughout life that are going to stick with him forever. And like we talked about it in the car today. Yep. Like, we were at her house every single day. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you can't help but pick up some of those traits.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying every one of them was right. Some of them were sketchy at best, yep. But some of them had good, like, they had good intentions.
Yeah.
But in the end outcome, it's like, you know, listen, do I think it's wrong to drink? No. But, like, if you're a raging alcoholic, then I think you need to address some things. Yep. You know, it's not this bottle's fault that you're that way. It's, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And where my mom and them thought, if you just touch this to your lips, you're burning in hell.
Yep.
You know, so.
But no, I like that because the reason that I keep asking about, like, your parents and using that analogy is because there's so many people that I know in my life that have been through their own situations, just like you have, like Dylan has, like I have. But I feel like they just harp on.
I feel close to you right now.
You were always a little close on this bench, but it's all right. Life could be better if my parents didn't do this, or if my parents didn't go through this, or if I didn't have to go through this as a kid. And you see it on social media where people are depressed because, oh, my parents this, my parents that. And we put so much blame on, like, these people that are our role models that taught us a way. And it's like taking a step back and remembering, like, guys, we are all fucking human. Like, we mess up as kids all the time. Absolutely. Our parents are going to mess up. Our grandparents are going to mess up. And guess what? If you're going to blame your parents, you might as well now blame your grandparents and then blame their
the
parents.
Whole family
because,
tree.
Yeah. And so I ask about it because, one, I love family dynamics, and two, I think people keep a guard up from their moms, their dads, their aunts, their uncles because of things that they've been through, instead of just realizing, like, oh, fuck, people make mistakes, people go through stuff, but that's how you learn and you grow. And sometimes you just need to support them because, again, I could sit here and cast blame and I should never touch this because my dad and my uncle and my grandpas, they all drank too much. But again, it's realizing and taking what you've learned and then just passing that along, because we're going to make mistakes as parents and we're not going to be perfect. But again, we can all work to get better if we just realize, like, this is fucking Earth and, like, we're all just trying to do our best. And so I love your perspective, I guess is why I kept asking. I love your perspective on things and the way that you took it and seeing the things that you instilled in Jacob and Dylan and what they're taking out of life. Because just spending the short amount of time that I have, I mean, because again, life is so long, but like you can see those things, the way that you guys interact and mingle and stuff like that, where I wish a lot of people had that relationship with their mom and dad, the way that Dylan does with you and Angie.
The people who say, like, to go off your first point, oh, things could always be easier. Just easier doesn't mean better, though. And like, I feel like they automatically think that it's going to be better. Yeah. But you see, like, all these well-off people who they're addicts or they're this or they're that, and their life is no better. It's actually worse. Mm-hmm. And they had an easier path, like, by societal standards.
I mean, so I'm sure you guys have group texts, right? And you bust balls, whatever.
Yep.
So I got these two buddies, and they're my golf guys, and we've been all over the country golfing, and we send memes every day, whatever. So I get this one this morning before I left, and I sleep like complete dog shit. Since I retired, you would think since I retired I'd have nothing to do but sleep, but I sleep like complete dog shit. So I'm laying there, and if I turn it down, Angie really doesn't complain too much, but I'm listening to this thing, and there was this guy sitting in a chair.
I honestly didn't know that you knew how to not have it at full volume.
No, I mean, anyway, so. See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. If I'd have done that to my dad, he'd have knocked this mic over and put my ass on TV.
It doesn't matter if it's me, my mom, Jacob in the room, the TV will be on. My dad's got a TikTok playing full volume. Everybody looks at each other, right?
I mean, you just ruined my whole story. But, is what it is. So anyway.
He's an asshole.
Getting back to my thing. So,
hey, guess who raised me?
It was this guy, and he's like, people go through their whole life and they want to reach this status of financial stability, or they want to reach this, or they want to do this and that. He's like, you know what? I say, fuck that. He said, how many of your friends do you know that their kids want to come home for Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's and spend the weekend with their fucking parents? He's like, you know what? You could have the rest of it. I'll take that any day. You know, and I feel, and this is not a knock against him or his brother, but I feel I have two of the biggest homebody boys that we couldn't have asked for better kids.
When you said it's not a knock, I thought you were about to go the other way.
Come Thanksgiving, and there's been Thanksgivings he didn't come home, or Christmases he didn't come home. How many of them do you wish you would have made?
I mean, I wish I could be there all the time.
All of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just a broke bitch.
Like, not only that, bro. Like, this weekend right here. Like, I don't know too many of my buddies that are driving 8 hours to kick it with their son and his friends.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just unheard of. Yep. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm good. I'm good. Mm-hmm. I don't need that stuff. And listen, I understand that they're gonna think they've been slighted and whatever. And okay, baby.
I don't think I've been slighted.
No. I'm just saying. I'm sure there's some offenses somewhere.
Well, there's always gonna be offenses.
Like with Jacob was like, "You were always so much better at Dylan than you were me." I'm like,
it's a different relationship.
Okay, bro.
Like, even like there's things I could complain about the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, and there was a ton that I can complain about. My sisters were devils. Were devils. But
but I think like as a kid, you just have like this view of your parent where it's like, oh, they got it all figured out. Like, why would they fucking do that? Like, they should know better. Yeah. And then the older you get, you're like, oh, we're all just
I'm just struggling along.
I'm about to be 30 years old, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life. I couldn't imagine being responsible for 2 more lives right now.
I mean, I don't think, coming up, I just, I don't know. I mean, I had some issues early on. I missed some work and medical shit and health shit, and it's like, we talked about it today, and this is going to, regurgitate. My old man worked 41 years.
Damn.
41 years. Retired in 94. Dead in 97. So 41 years for a 3-year return. So that was one of those conversations that me and Miss Sacker had. I said, I will never be that guy. The minute they tell me, hey, Thacker, you have enough time, you can leave, out. I'm gone. Yep. And listen, and I might have jumped the gun a year too soon. But you know what? I'm out a year too soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a year under my belt that I'm not I mean, come on, bro. I mean, it makes me anxious. It makes me nervous. It makes
being out.
Yeah, it makes me a whole bunch of emotions. But come the end of the day, I don't have to go to work.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? It gives me the ability to do this.
Yep.
Like, hey, it's Thursday. I'm going to North Carolina. See you Monday. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yep.
I'm totally good. And I hope that if anything, my boys saw, listen, Dad took the time. He wasn't a workaholic. He wasn't at the Ford plant every time the doors were open, you know, and he
was hardly there when the doors were open.
he made some time for us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. But
no, I'm completely with you. When my mom retired, she retired probably 3 years ago now, and she's just been living and loving life, just making the most of it.
For work.
That's what she says
I'll
too.
be honest with you, I don't know how I had time
She's so fucking busy all the damn time. I'm like, how did you fit everything in when you were working? Yeah. But I told my granny, I was like, don't worry, granny. I'm like 10 years behind mom, and then I'm going to retire with her. And like everybody laughs at that, but like that is my goal, and that is what I hope can happen. When I say retired, it's like not working for somebody that's telling me when I have to be in and when I don't have to be in.
You're in charge of your time.
Yep. Because
that's all it really is like, it's not even a financial freedom. It's like a time freedom. Mm-hmm. I work when I want. I do what I want when I want.
But you have to look at that too. So many people pigeonhole themselves into that where it is a financial thing for them. They can't retire at 51. I mean, bro, as old as I feel, I'm young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't do that. Like, I have a good friend that's like, bro, how are you, you know, your house is paid for, this, that, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'd never base my hours on 40 hours or 50, 60 hours a week, whatever it was.
That's what you live below your means.
I always lived on 40 or less because I was on medical. So, you know, you learn to live on what you have coming in. And listen, there were times that things were tight, but we made it work. You know what I'm saying? And we're better off for it now. Yep. Angie can come and go as she wants. So she's basically semi-retired. And, you know, I wouldn't trade it. I mean...
Yeah. No, I think that should be the goal for everyone, and for sure. I feel like because my dad unfortunately worked until he died, I truly believe he like killed himself because he worked too hard. He was that guy, blue collar man, worked in the steel mills early on, and then worked at like coal mining ships, and then he had businesses with his dad, and his dad kind of pigeonholed him, from what I've been told. I never got to meet my grandfather, but pigeonholed, however you say it, him to Lorraine and opening businesses with the family. And so everybody says that like my dad would have went away to college and been successful in a different avenue if it wasn't for his dad pretty much like pressuring him and making him stay in.
Did your dad ever vocalize that though? Because that's like other people's opinions.
It's something I struggle with because like I didn't have this outlook on life to know certain questions to ask him. Or even just to be like, Dad, are you doing good? Like, are you all right? Like, there was times it was hard to put food on the table, keep the lights on, pay mortgage.
That's one thing I never thought to ask my old man that.
Yeah.
If they have financial issues, we didn't know about it. Listen,
Same.
I never saw my mom and dad argue.
I don't think I did either. I mean, maybe a couple arguments, but like it was over
when I was a kid,
dumb.
I remember one argument.
Yeah. Listen, but I do remember like my mom. My dad was, if it was weekend, it was a big breakfast thing. He'd eat, you know, she'd make him gravy biscuits, whatever.
Hell yeah.
And I can remember plenty of Sunday, Saturday mornings where he'd come in and he'd just throw his arms around her, you know. Mm-hmm. He'd kiss her on the neck. He ate her, mama. You know, but he was so much like she was taller than he was, you know what I'm saying? Really? And I do remember that, but I don't, if they had any issues, I don't remember.
Honestly though, there was some predator behavior going on.
There was. My old man was 27. She was 16 when they got married.
Ooh. And he met her younger and said, I'll come back for you.
Oh, I've got some stories about that.
Dude, it's so weird. Like, back in the day, they just said, yeah, be a predator.
Like, I don't want to verbally disrespect my folks. I'm like, you know, where this is going to linger for the rest of their life, or my life, your lives, everyone's lives, because... Well, I guess my bedroom was.
We ain't gonna talk about that.
So we gonna let that lay. But they had a good relationship that way. They had 6 fucking kids.
Yeah, they were busy,
bro. And that's the thing is they didn't have cable back then. Evidently, he just.
Yep. We can use our imagination.
What you want to do? And she'd go.
We ain't got TV.
I don't know. They didn't have.
Hey, it's crazy though. Like by the time there was 5 in the house, and they were still like, let's go.
Yeah,
dang, that's probably what kept them young.
They didn't have 90-day fiance in that back in the day. They just get upstairs.
Yeah.
Even lazy dog it.
I ain't mad at him. I hopefully will continue down that path.
One of those, or do I gotta move this?
I got you, man. But
I'm afraid to move it. Huh? I'm afraid to move it. Like,
nah, you're good.
I'll even open it for you.
Painted this thing flesh colored, look like I have a big dong in front of my face.
Honestly, dude,
you might like that.
Freddie has like a bigger head on his than mine. Like look at mine compared to yours.
That is a big cap.
And then he got chode.
Got a little chode, bro.
That's okay.
Shout out to the boys.
That's like not even a chode. That's like a micro. Because a chode would be thick. It's just not thick at all.
Nope. Got a big head.
Real big.
But yeah, so my dad worked his entire life and like had the golf course at the end of it and like was just trying to keep that afloat and keep it going. Because every single time we try to do something to make it work or improve it, like something would just fucking happen, whether it was break-ins or...
Which golf course?
Emerald Valley.
Emerald Valley on 58.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So my family owned that.
I didn't know that was written on our own.
Yeah.
Man, you guys taking over the south side.
It's on the west side.
South side, west side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you have like Right Now Beverages.
Yeah, we had 12 of those.
Yeah.
So those were all in the family lineage. And my friends would call up to Emerald because I would always be there working. And so this will lead into what is my favorite moment or memory with my dad.
Right.
So the day that he passed away, or like the week leading up to when he passed away, going back to real quick to finish the bullet point of like how hardworking he was, is we went there the day after we had his cemetery like ceremony. And I'm not joking. It was actually the day after he passed away, so we hadn't even had the ceremony yet, because that's where we would go to feel peace. Like the cemetery wasn't it. We would go there because we had so many memories. And we're standing up there, and I have a picture of it, and I'll try and pull it up on my old phone so that way we can like just pop it up on the screen. But like we looked out, and every fucking thing was immaculate. All of the grass was cut. All of the stalls were lined up. All the picnic benches, everything was weed whacked. The inside of the bar everything was set. There was things at our new house that we moved into that my mom was on my dad for the first like 3 months because he like didn't hang the pictures, and this wasn't where it wanted to be. And he hung family pictures in the bathroom, and she's like, "Freddie, you don't fucking hang family pictures in the bathroom." He's like, "Why not?"
Say the F word.
No. She went now. She didn't cuss when my dad was around, but she cusses now just as much as me.
I don't know if I've ever heard her cuss.
Oh, she does.
Man, I had to.
Not really, no. I definitely have the worst mouth in the family, I would imagine. Yeah, no,
I think my mom might have the worst mouth in the family.
I think I've only heard my dad say the F word once.
Yeah, I didn't really hear Pops cuss.
No, he would say son of a bitch or, damn. But
Shit.
Yeah, my mom, she'd be dropping the F-bomb now, and it's fucking hilarious. But even at the house, so we realized that after he passed away, we went in there and finally, like, just me, my mom, and my sister as a family, like, got to, like, kind of take a break. There wasn't everybody around. People weren't bringing food over, flowers over. And so we were sitting there, and my mom looks up. She goes, "Oh, wow, I didn't know that picture got hung up there." And then she would go in the kitchen and be like, "No way." Went in the bathroom. The ones she wanted were in there.
All up.
Everything. And, like, I literally have goosebumps
just
right
like
now.
She asked, yep.
Just like she asked. Everything was immaculate. And it was like, looking back on it, it was like, holy fuck, did he know that his time was coming?
Maybe.
Because
got it all done.
Everything was done.
Maybe.
Every little thing my mom wanted in the house was done. The golf course was spotless. And we were just like, oh my God. And so I took that picture, and I'll have it framed one day, hanging up like real big in my house or something like that, because it's beautiful. But my favorite memory isn't one specific thing, but it was the way I was raised growing up, going to that golf course with him. And I was a little shit. I mean, you can see me right there. I was probably like 8 years old. I was tiny. And my friends would always call up there instead of our house phone, because I would always be there working with him from like the age of like 6. And I would be so light when I would jump on like the big gang mower tractor or the new tractors he bought, and they had like sensors in them to see if somebody was on the seat. I couldn't register because I was so light. So he would put bricks on the back of it. And then he would buy a new piece of equipment, or we would go over to Home Depot, and he had me drive the big-ass Home Depot trucks full of stuff when I was like 11, 12 years old. Back to the course. And he would buy like new mowers, and the zero turn came out, and I'm in the shop where there's oil and stuff from all the other tractors and things they're fixing, and it's going all over the place. And I was like, "Dad, I can't do it. I can't do it." And he goes, "Get on there. You can do it." "Yeah, you can." And so he's sitting there, and I'm like, "I can't get this thing to like stop moving." He's like, "You'll figure it out." And he walks out. And that was how my dad was with me, whether it was a golf cart, a tractor, a piece of equipment that needed fixed. It was like, "You can do this, you can do this."
Yeah.
And so my favorite memory was he never, ever discouraged me from doing anything. And if I kept saying I can't do it, he would do that scenario when I was on that tractor brand new. And he knew it was like a $12,000 piece of equipment, and I had to go through a tight thing, but he's like, "You'll figure it out." And I ended up doing it. And I feel like that's why I've persevered through a lot of the things that I struggle with, that I used to get made fun of for, or the things that I would get on myself for, is because like in the back of my head, I always hear like, "You got this, you can do it." And so my favorite memory is just like having him there through those different things to learn. and like develop my skills and things of that nature. Because we didn't get to go on like family trips. He was always busy with the businesses and stuff like that. So I don't have a materialistic type thing. But it was just like his attitude towards teaching my sister and me things and always believing in us. Yep.
So like if you sorry, Dill.
No, go
ahead. If you try to hang a TV mount and it didn't work, he'd say, "You got this."
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, that's why I said
go into it today, though.
I said that we would leave
here. He would go into it today.
It don't matter.
It wouldn't have went in that hole.
If I was over there, that TV would have been up before your dad got here.
It would have. But
in his defense, I pushed this. So I just
see. He's too nice of a guy. He's got to give you shit for this.
This is the side that went in.
I just pulled out a screw that was like longer than whatever. So it's like almost a 3-inch screw, and I pushed it in there. And I said, "Now watch this." I let go of it. Freddie popped it back out of the hole. So evidently, it was pushed against a wire, and the wire popped it back out.
That's how that thing went in for me.
Yeah, and I'm like, but it was only in the drywall. Like, I found one stud on that whole wall, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe if it's because it's such a high-rise building, maybe they're metal studs. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
could be.
You know, I didn't see any studs anywhere, so I just use these. They're called easy anchors.
Okay.
It's like a Phillips head with it looks like a big drill bit. You just drill it in the wall, and then you put your screw right in the center of that. So.
Yeah. Justin had us do his stuff too. Like, let's not.
Oh, I'm sure he fucking.
And not only that, but he was like just supervising.
I'm sure he fucking was.
Yeah, dude, he had us hang the TV in his room. And my dad said, "How's it?" And we already had him bed test it, lay in bed and tell us it was good.
He wanted it that high.
So, tell us that it was good, and he said, "I won't be mad if it was lower." So we had to take the holes out. He had to spackle over it and move it down.
Easy anchors leave a hole the size of a dime.
They ain't little.
They're barely covered by the TV. Like, so if you peek on the TV, you could see it.
I just took a big tube of spackles. I said, this will be dry in a year when you guys leave here. I mean, whatever.
Yep.
So, bro, I never knew Emerald Valley was written out or owned.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe you didn't know that.
And we wanted to buy, so we had the night.
Like, House Salt, like, bro, you should have bought that.
I know.
Mean, that's where Legends is at now, right? Back there?
No. Legends over by Mama Joe's.
So what went back there?
It was like a soccer academy, yeah. Frank had it for a while. I don't know who has it now.
Yeah, because we had that 9 holes.
Entrepreneur's in your blood, bro.
Oh, I know.
This DTI thing's about to pop. You guys will see.
It's going to.
You guys will see.
We've had a lot of exciting conversations, and it's just like I was talking to my barber about it because Matt was getting a haircut by the guy in the other chair, and he was like, "You and Dylan podcasting after this?" And I was like, "Yeah." So my barber was like, "You podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Me and my buddy have a business," and I was explaining it to him. He's like, "Dude, that's fucking it." He was like, "I was a bodybuilder at once, got on stage, competed, all this stuff." He's like, "There's so many things that are fucked up in that industry." And he's like, "And what's worse about it is that it like steers people away." He's like, "I would do it, and there would be people like, oh my God, I can never step in the gym because I'm never going to look like that." He was like, "So what you guys are doing are on the right like path of getting the vast majority of people." And so I was like, "Yeah, we don't want it to be like fully focused on like just gym. So we have this other branch for the mental side of it," and got into all of that. And it was just cool because everybody that I have a conversation with, whether I know them or not, besides our friends who give a shit for it, but rightfully so.
Right, I'd give them shit also.
Oh, 1,000%. There's something with it that they resonate with. And everybody is different in what that something is. But it's so cool because even when we were at the Spartan race, there was this older lady, probably like 70, 68, standing next to us. She had already done like...
Very specific to go from 70 to 68.
Look there's a crow right there. That's how I know Pops is with us. That's dope. Do you have any...
If there's 3 of them, you know the grandpa and uncles too.
Exactly.
Like, if there's 3 of them out there.
Do you have any like signs
for...
Cardinals. Yeah, Cardinals. Like they're everywhere, bro. I'm telling you.
Dude, that's so cool.
What if one landed right next to the
crow? There's another one in that tree.
Okay, well then uncle's
what if a Cardinal just landed next to the crow? I think I just walk on podcast.
So we went camping in May, right? We went to Maumee Bay, which is our favorite state park.
Mm-hmm.
We back in, and the way these sites work is they back in. The pads are like 40 foot long, but there's a row of hedges that are probably like 10, 12 feet tall,
mm-hmm.
and they run the whole way. Me and Angie's in the camper. She had just kicked the air on. I mean, it was hot. We were gonna go catch a quick 9, and you just hear something pecking. So I pull the blind back, and there's a cardinal just tagging the window. Bro, this motherfucker stayed there till... I'm not even lying. It was there till bedtime. I'm like, there's one in the tree right now. There's
really?
Uncle. Yeah, there's Uncle right there. He just landed. What's up, Uncle? So anyway, this bird is just like... Bro, like, it's... less than 2 feet. It's enough for you to walk through, to get along the side of the camper to hook up your power. And this bird is just pecking the side of this, going ham at this thing. And I'm like,
for hours you would just fly away.
Bro, just going ham. And I'm like, what the fuck? Nighttime comes. I'm like, thank God. Bro, 5 in the morning. I went out, opened up my pass-through, got me a roll of duct tape and some paper towels. I taped every window on the side of the camper. Bro, that fucking bird flew from there over to the guy across from was like, starts hitting his. And I'm like, Mamaw is pissed this morning. I just told her, I was like, everywhere we go, bro, listen, the week she died, she died on the 10th, which was our anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
By that Friday, dude, with everything going on with the family and this and that and getting everything for the funeral, I was like, if we don't get out of town.
That was right before we came to Dallas.
I said, if we don't get out of
town. The week
town,
before, because I almost couldn't come.
I'm going to fucking kill someone. Legit. One of my sisters will be strangled.
Yep.
Right? So we drove, what's Amish country? 100 miles for us? 100 miles away? 2 hours, whatever. So I drove to Amish country. We got this B&B overlooked the valley. And the next morning, we get up in the morning. Angie's getting ready. I opened up the patio door. And I'm telling you, from here to that tree, there was a cardinal sitting in that tree. And I was like, she followed us down here. Bro, I'm telling you.
She used to go with you all the time.
And then you told me the story about the crows. And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, there's something to that. There's something to that. And you can say what you want, but there's something to that. And not only that, it's comforting. You know what I'm saying?
1,000%.
It's just comforting.
I can't, every single interview that I've had for a job, I can think back to when I was interviewing in Seattle for one of the internships that I had. I was walking to my interview, and there was a short stint where I had to go from this side of the hotel to this one, but it was an outdoor crossway. I step foot maybe two feet out of there, and I hear the crow, and I'm like, there's my sign, baby. I get back from my interview. I open up the sliding door to call my mom, and there's a crow in the tree just crowing. And then when I was in Dallas, there was another one crowing. And sometimes I'll be down and I'll just be talking, and then sure enough, an hour later, I'll just see one pop up, and I'm like, no fucking way.
See, I think I'd be down with the crow scenario, but my old man was always about the cardinal. Yeah. My mom, oh, that's an angel. That's an angel.
Yep. We think that my grandfather is a bald eagle, because he always loved bald eagles, and the day that he tried to keep his hair. He had 5
I'm probably going to be a bald eagle, bro.
The day that he passed away.
Or a turtle.
Ooh. Why a turtle?
Turtles ain't got no fucking hair. Franklin.
Turtle? Everything. I like it.
You ain't going to see a lot of me, man. When I'm gone, I'm gone.
Plus, you watch Franklin when you was a little kid. Man.
When I'm gone, I'm gone.
You kind of look like Franklin.
Hey, it's Franklin.
I do that. I honestly have a small head like a turtle. Turtles have the middle of his head. They got a small head.
You might be a turtle, bro. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Bro, that's the thing. When these kids were kids, we watched what they watched.
Yeah.
It was yeah,
it's everybody.
House, we just, it was their, well, I shouldn't say that. It was their house. We just, we watched what they watched. I don't know. I think you guys had an okay upbringing.
I don't think it was bad. I'm just trying to think, how many times would y'all see a turtle if I died? Probably not
a lot, because on the golf course, camping.
Yeah.
I
think you would see it a lot. I think you could be a turtle. You look like Franklin.
Okay, bro. Chill on me.
Hey, it's Franklin. Coming over to play.
Yes. I haven't heard that song in so long.
How's the rest go? You know the rest.
I don't actually.
Yeah, you do.
I swear to God, I don't.
Come on.
Swear
don't
to
leave
God,
your dad hanging.
I only know those 2 lines.
Nah, I could probably, if you give me enough time, I'm going to figure the rest out. I'll be jamming that bitch for we're finished.
That's fine, because we got to stop the camera, so you got time to think. I know we got 5 minutes, but we'll cut into a new segment.
Okay, so anyway, I'd like to know, getting into your 30s, because 30 is it's a time where I don't want to say you have things figured out, because even at 52, sometimes I'm like, what the?
I don't think anyone has things figured out, honestly.
But
I forgot to grab a beer.
What's out there for you? What do you feel like? Okay, I want to accomplish this, and this, or
what do I want to accomplish?
I learned this from mom or dad, or I learned this, pick this up along the way, and I want to incorporate that in my life, or I want to do this.
I think most people are nervous. I feel like a lot of people are like, damn, bro, I'm turning 30. They dread it. I'm actually looking forward to 30s. Yeah. I feel like the 20s was where I was kind of floating around out here trying to figure shit out. I hope that 30s is where I can solidify some things in life. So I don't really, honestly, I don't have like overarching goals for the next 10 years. I just have like very basic shit.
Elaborate.
I'm trying to here. I'm like trying to. Yeah. I'm trying to like vocalize like what I want to say and like trying to say it in a good way. But I don't really know. I obviously like want DTI to progress. Like that's a big one. Is that we talk all the time. Like I don't care about. It's like the financial freedom thing. Like kind of like you were talking about with this meme that you got. Is like I don't need this pinnacle. I don't need that. If I can live the lifestyle that I live now, but do it on my own terms in like coaching settings or a DTI setting, I'm cool with that. I don't need to be a fucking multimillionaire. I don't need to live in some huge house. I don't need fancy cars. Like if I can live the life I live right now for the next 30, 40, however long I live and just get by, I'm cool with that. But outside of that, it's hard to like be like, oh, I want a family, I want this and that, because I'm not in that place. Like I'm not with someone where I can see that at the moment. So it's like, that's not really on my radar. Obviously, like if it happens, it happens. Like I'm not against it at all. But I don't think we talked about this on a podcast, but me and Freddie have kind of talked about this off air. I want to get out of like, I don't know the right word for it, like without sounding more like an asshole. But I want to get out of like immature ways, I guess. Like there was a way that I lived in my 20s, especially like my early to mid 20s, that I don't want to carry over now that I'm single again, about to be in my 30s. And so I guess I'm just trying to mature in that sense. Which we're not going to get into specifics on that.
Do you feel like you're lacking some maturity to feel that way? Or
no, I feel like I don't want to go backwards. But I feel like it'd be very easy for me to go backwards right now.
Because I feel like even at 52, there's times that mom probably looks at me like, geez, I'm married to this.
Okay, I'm by no means saying I'm a mature individual.
No.
I think I'm very mature in certain aspects.
I get that,
but at the same time, like I don't think I'm ever gonna be like what people on paper would say. Oh, he's mature. I'm never gonna be that guy. That's just not my personality.
And I don't think I ever would be.
I don't think I would want to be friends with someone who is though.
Yeah,
that's not the type of people I want to be around. I want people like who, you're 52, you don't live like what on paper you think a 52-year-old would live like. Yeah. And that's not a knock at all. I think it's good. Like I want to live younger. I want to be able to hit 50, go hang out with my kids' friends and do this and that.
You know, and that's the thing is like even at 52, which isn't that old, but I know you guys will say, oh man, you say you're 51 or whatever before all the time. And
well, you were just, because it was all the time. You'd be like, I'm 51 years old.
But it's like, you know, you get to the point where it's like, I mean, I try to stay as active as I can. Mm-hmm. Now, with my physical limitations, I can go do it, and then it's just like, it takes a little bit more time for Tommie T to recover than it did back when I was in my 20s. I ain't gonna lie. Well, I shouldn't say that. But anyway.
We're getting there too.
Yeah, so it's like, I get that. I mean, so like if you're saying, well, I want to mature into this DTI setting, and I want to have clients, and I want to coach, and I want to do this and that, like, are you lining things up to do that? Are you soliciting potential clients? Are you reaching out to a certain genre of people? Are you
putting forth to a degree we're doing it now, but we had this conversation this past week on last week's podcast. We met up and we had like a 3-hour conversation about like the direction of the business and what we see. And there's a lot of places we are falling short. And we weren't always falling short. Like there was a time where we were doing it and it was growing, and then you kind of just get into habits and you let it fall off. Same way you can get into good habits, you can get into bad ones.
Sure.
And so I do think we're like coming around a curve where things are about to uptick right now. And so we're getting right back into that groove though.
Yep. And another thing too, because your point on what you're saying, I feel like you can hit the nail on the head like one more time to solidify it. And so like the way I look at it is, what I believe you're saying is that you're focusing your time and attention on what you want to attract. So again, like you said, being single now, you don't want to fall into old ways. We can all use our imagination what those old ways are. Going out to the bars and trying to bring somebody home, going out to the bars and getting completely shit-faced, going out to the bars and eating the shitty food, like all of those things stem to those bad habits. And if you're going out on the town and sleeping around, you're not going to find that dream woman. Right. And so it's putting yourself in those settings, and I think this is what you're saying is you want to put yourself in those settings where you can find those next like golden nuggets to progress in that area of life.
I'm at the point where I'm trying to build a life.
Yep.
I'm not out here trying to have fun and just party all the time. Yep. I've been there. I've done that.
Yep.
Cool. It's behind. Like, why do it again?
Right.
It's got me to this point in life, which isn't a bad place.
No.
But I'm trying to go up now. And if I do that, it's just going to keep me here. And I don't want to stay here. And so many people are just okay with being here. So I don't know. I'm just trying to, I guess, create separation from like the normal pack or like the average.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I have to really focus on, I know who I can run with and I know who I can't run with. And I know if I run with this group, it's ultimately going to end up bad if I, whatever. Like,
for me, it's not even so much about groups. It's that I know who I can be and who I want to be. Correct. And I know who I've been. And I know that to be this person, I can't be this person.
I think the thing I'm trying to say is like I think we're pretty similar. Like if I came here and I was like, hey Fred, Dylan, how you guys doing? You guys doing well? Good to see you. Playing golf tomorrow. If I went through those type of things, you'd be like, I'm like, if I came into town, I'm like, what's up, bitches? We about to chase some white ball tomorrow. Like if I was the other guy, you'd be like, the fuck's up with this guy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good point though, because you can balance both. You can still be that person while still trying to progress.
And I feel like there was so many instances when I was working that these guys, like, they'd want me for a certain position, but I was so much of a jokester. And I'm like, look, I can be professional. I'm not that way 100% of the time. I do like to cut loose. I do like to have a big time, but I do know when to pull it back and be professional about some things, And I don't think they could separate the two Tommies. I think it was a big deal for them. Where I'm like, whatever. Then
you don't need to separate them. That's the thing. Is like that's the beauty of it. You don't need them to be separated.
But that's the thing is, to me, I'm like, he's like, well, what can I offer you? What can I give you? You don't give me nothing. I'm good. You don't know. You don't you have to give me anything. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? You just showed me. You know what I'm saying? You wanted a cookie cut out of me. And I'm not. I don't know. I mean, maybe I do need to rein some things in, but I mean,
you are who you are. At the end of the day, like I do believe people can change and evolve, but like at your core, you're the same person.
But I think like if
your goals and just different shit aligns differently.
To like the underlying thing of everything that I think this label stands for, the only way you're going to get from A to B is put into work. It ain't going to happen if you don't put into work. You can say it. But if you don't put in the work, it ain't going to happen. Just like we talked about with this stupid golf outing. Like this charity golf outing I run. It's like, yeah, I can make this much money, but if I don't put in the work, we ain't making no money.
Yep.
So for me, it's one of them things where it's work, and that's not a bad thing. I think if you want it, if you want clients, if you want
anything.
Coaching, if you want a job, if you want a relationship, if you want anything, it's work. I joke and I say, people will say, oh, marriage is a 50-50 thing.
100.
Bullshit if it's 50-50. Because if I'm putting in 50-50 and Angie's putting in 50-50, that's half-ass. Yep. It's going to take me putting in 100% and you putting in 100%. And if one of them falls, believe me, there's going to be ripples. You know what I'm saying? I love that girl with everything about me, and I'm sure she'd like to strangle me, and I'm sure there's times I'd like to strangle her, but it takes work to make that. You know what I'm saying?
When you're that close to somebody, of course you're going to strangle them.
I'm home every day. She works, and we go back and forth, and it's like, look, we need you still need to come together. You need to regroup and say, okay, we're going to divide and conquer this week. You're going to do this. I'm going to do this. You're going to do this. I'm going to do this, and you make it work. That's part of the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? Is what it is. Now, there was a time like when he left for college, I felt like she was the furthest thing away from me. Like, I didn't even know who she was. But it was, she would take Dylan or she would take Jacob. I would take Dylan. I would take Jacob. So we were just running them here, there, and there. Dylan leaves for college, and then she's in the school, going for nursing. I'm running Jacob, and she's in this, and I'm going to this tournament, or I'm going to this golf thing, or, and I mean, it was just like, I think it's just once you empty nest, there's a period where you just have to come back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure there was times where she's like, you know what? It'd probably just be better off if you just leave the nest.
I mean, I'm not married, so it's hard for me to say, but I feel like that's why most marriages fail. People don't evolve with the relationship. Yeah. Most people, especially like in your guys' shoes, you guys got together very young, had kids young. Yeah. It's easy after that to be like, well, now what's holding us together? Yeah. But you guys found a way after that to come back together and figure out what's our new normal look like. And just too many people don't do that, and that's why.
And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like I was telling them at lunch today. It's like how I'm not a millionaire just is beyond me. Like there's so much in this head. Like there is so much more to me.
Man, I can tell you how. Well, the same thing you told us. It's work.
Exactly.
Did you work for it?
Exactly. And it's just like there's just so much more there than being, a welder sub-assembler at the Ford Motor Company. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then you apply it, and it's like, and it's work, and that's what it comes down to. It's work, and then you take on a job, or you take on a couple jobs, and it kicks your ass, and then you're just like, fuck this, I'm out.
You had other responsibilities though, so you got in, you had a family. Whereas even like the relationship between me and Jacob, sometimes I feel bad for it because he never even got to experience a chance to leave.
Sure.
Which I'm not saying like that he wouldn't choose this path again, because I believe 100% he would choose the exact path he's on.
100% he would.
But I at times feel selfish that I'm like whatever, bouncing around to what God knows what, and I still am fucking 30 years old with who even knows what to show for it. It feels selfish at times, basically, is what I'm saying.
And it's interesting too, because you're 29-year-old having these thoughts. Your dad's 52 having these thoughts of just like, could I have given more to be that millionaire, or could I do something now to be like, no matter what point you are in life, you're always going to like want more, and you're always going to be like, oh, I should have done this differently. But again, like
you could also still do it.
Yeah.
See, so, and that's the thing is like, like him, I'm telling him, I'm like, man, you're in a new city. You left Lorain, you went to Columbus. You left Columbus, you went to Denver. You left Denver, you went to Arizona. You left Arizona, you went back to Denver. You left Denver, you were in North Carolina. I said, man, I never left South Lorain. You know what I'm saying? I never had the balls enough to leave South Lorain.
Yep.
And I mean, I had responsibilities there. I had obligations there. In my mind, I did. But it's like, I don't know, man. I don't think like.
If I had kids, I couldn't do it.
Right, but
you got no help.
But I'm saying I feel like don't ever feel bad about leaving and going to chase what you felt. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, sooner or later, you're gonna make a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You go enough, sooner or later you're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? So don't ever feel bad in that aspect. But you always like, regardless of whatever happens. You know what I'm saying? Like when you left school and you came home. And then got your master's, and then just always know you always have that fail safe. You can always come back home. Like I'm sure you don't want to be there at 30, but
it's not a good look. Come back in at 30.
There's a statistic that says that 42% of people at the age of 30 are living with their parents.
But see, and it's like when I was a kid coming up, there was at least 3 guys on my mom's street, at least 3 that had to be in their 30s and 40s and still lived with their folks.
But it's also a very different time than then. I also saw another statistic that said that.
But think about
tuition.
I was 16, 17. These guys are twice my age in their 30s, still living with their mom and dad.
Yeah,
and they lived there until their folks died, and the one guy's still there today.
Now it makes more sense though. It said tuition, rent, and just basic necessities went up 10 times or 20 times
though. And people say that, and it goes back to what we were talking about
2 times
in the beginning of the podcast, where people do not live within their means to set themselves up to pay their house off, to raise their kids. Everybody thinks oh, wow, this car payment's only $400. I can afford that because I bring in this much in 2 weeks. Oh, wait,
$400 is a cheap car payment, though.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. Don't get that car.
On top of that for
insurance. And then you add groceries on top of that. And then, you want this new Apple Watch, it's only $96 a month.
But comparatively to
I don't know. I won't agree with that. Nope.
All I'm saying is tuition, housing, and basic necessities. The increase in 30 years is exponentially higher than just the average salary.
And guess what? Those same people that are arguing that as a thing are the ones that want minimum wage to go up to $22.
Okay, then take it from a graduate perspective. What's the base to get in anywhere with a degree? Most people are making $45,000 a year. What are you going to live off of for $45,000 a year?
Do we want to go down this path?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, you could, but you're not going to live in this area. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to live here.
Okay, but then where do you go?
Well, I mean,
to the hood. Everybody should just live in the hood.
No, I mean, I don't think you'd have to live in the hood if you're making 45 G's a year. You know?
Okay, let's just put it this way: where are you going to get a home at a reasonable rate? You're going to rent, and rent is sky. You can't argue that rent is not insane.
Rent is insane.
Exactly.
There's so many angles.
That rent, tuition, all these things have went up X amount, and salaries increased significantly less.
But there's also people that go to college and they get these degrees and degrees that they know they will not make a steady, solid income from. So it's like, why are you going to go to school, put yourself in $100,000 worth of debt?
On its way out.
I was actually going to talk about. I want to transition because this will be. We can have this debate by ourselves.
I do think
it's a fun debate. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I like playing the other side of it.
I disagree
because there's a different side.
But real quick, looking at that though, like you say, I think school's on its way out. Like my old man didn't go to school. My mom, what were they? 7th, 8th grade.
She went to 8th grade.
You know what I'm saying? So like. My sister Debbie
the barrier entry was lower.
Was probably like the smartest one. I shouldn't say smartest, but she had the best grades out of all of us. Mm-hmm. And she was the only one that he said, if you want to go to college, I'll pay for it. Like, he never offered that to me. He never offered that to Karen. Never offered it to anybody.
I could tell you someone else who never offered it to me.
and listen, and I'll get to that too. So,
because big increase.
So they never did, right? They never offered it. My thing was, listen, bro, I'm putting in... With kindergarten, 12, 13 years of school, I don't want nothing to do with it. When I'm out, I'm out. You know, I said, look, if I could go to the Ford plant, that's where I'm going, to the Ford plant. So when I graduated high school, I think I worked 91, 92, 89, 93 years almost. Got hired in at Ford. I remember dancing, telling Angie, "Oh, I made it, girl. Like, I'm going to Ford. I made it.
Yep.
You know, we're set.
Dream job.
You know, whatever.
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, but now listen. My old man never gave me shit. So everything that I had, meant more to me. Mm-hmm. If there's anything I can say, like, and listen, and I know I didn't give you everything. But you can't tell me the things you have. You ain't like, you know what? I got this on my own. I did this. This.
Oh, I'm not saying that. You know? I don't respect that.
And listen, and as far as school goes, I'm like, I knew school was expensive. I wasn't paying for him. If you want to go to school, listen, that'd be your first move of adulthood.
So, okay, for my first part of Jacob thinks I was one way. He thinks he was another. Education is where I feel like I got shafted. And not shafted like that's a negative thing, but it was a very different upbringing.
Sure.
Jacob was okay to get a C. No problem. Sure. I get a B, it's an issue.
Sure. I'll give him that.
And why was that?
Go ahead, finish.
No, I want another reason.
Okay, so, and we joked about this. Me and Angie, we didn't have cable TV when we first married. We couldn't afford basically anything. We lived in an apartment for a year and then bought a house. Bro, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And these people were like, hey, we'll sell you... What's that?
I said preach, dude.
Yeah, and he's like, we'll sell you, this, and this for $1,500. I'm like...
Yeah, who owned the house?
I was like, yeah. I'm like, fuck, I ain't got that kind of money, you know? And we were in the position of buying this house, and they were like, when we were buying, I don't know if it's still that way today, because we've only bought one house, but the guy's like, look, don't touch your bank account for at least 45 days, because if you start moving money around, whatever, they'll revoke this loan. So I'm like, I know what to do. So I told my dad, I said, I don't even have any bro, I had a bedroom set. So it was like a bed, a dresser, an entertainment center, and a 20-inch box TV. Right? Damn. That's all I had. I didn't have nothing. So this guy's willing to sell, bro, and it probably weighed
150 pounds.
It probably weighed, I mean, fucking crazy. So I told my dad, I was like, bro, he's gonna sell me like living room furniture, like both of the bedrooms upstairs. I have this. I have to get another bed for the one bedroom, but all we have is Dylan right now. $1,500. I can't. I had it in the bank, but it was my down payment. I couldn't take it.
Yep.
You know. And
can you imagine a $1,500 down payment on a house?
No. What I'm getting at? It was a little more than that, but he told me I couldn't take it. He told me I couldn't take anything out of the bank, move anything around. So my dad's like, well, how about if I give you the money until you're you can get in the bank. And I'm like, you do that? Listen, other than that, there was one time I told him that I didn't even tell him. I wanted a stereo for my car because back then it was like, you wanted a booming system when I was a kid. So, and I think that's what got me into liking to build stuff. Dude, my dad had every tool under the sun. Why he had them, I don't know. But he had them. Bro, I built speaker boxes for me and all my boys in school. They knew to come to me, I'd hook them up, whatever. And my dad just let me, he didn't give a fuck, bro. He wasn't no woodshop teacher. I was out there sawing shit, cutting holes out of shit, gluing, drilling, doing all this. Anyway, so where was I at?
Well, the original question was...
Oh, getting back
why did you come at me more on education?
So I didn't have any money. We couldn't afford cable. We couldn't afford anything. So Dylan comes along, and we had this little chalkboard, and it was magnetic, and you could open the doors, and you could stick the letters to it. So I'd stick an A there. I'm like, Dylan, what is that? A. So I'd stick an M there. What is that? M. For whatever reason, Dylan was quick. So we would just, it was funny because we would I don't want to say fuck with him, but it was we would just throw shit out there and he'd be he could spell it or he could write it or whatever. Damn. So it was you knew he had it. You know what I'm saying? Just Tiger Woods' dad knew he had it.
Yep.
If
where the fuck did it go?
If Tiger Woods' dad knew that he was going to be a professional golfer, why would he push him into ballet?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't want to say we pushed him, but we definitely steered him. We pushed him.
Yeah.
Into the direction of it.
I won't even say, because I don't want all of that to go on you.
Yeah.
It was pressure from everyone. Everybody was on it.
Obviously, Jacob was more hands-on than Dylan. Period. And Dylan will tell you this. Dylan's look. Dylan's I'll pay for this. Where Jacob's I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Dylan's I'll pay somebody to do this. He redid his bathroom. Jacob's I'm gonna figure this out.
I told Dylan 2 episodes ago that Jacob reminds me of you and he resembles Angie because
I don't necessarily agree with that.
I think they're both my.
But he's also never met Jacob.
Yeah.
I just picture Jacob as a man and Dylan as the female
both.
of the...
I told him that he really needs to meet Jacob.
Dylan is not.
No. I told him he needs to meet Jacob because Jacob's literally just me. Just he works with his hands.
Now Dylan's emotional, but I'm emotional.
So is Jacob these days.
And yeah, I'll give you that. But I think it's...
But Jacob doesn't... See, I'll be emotional on anyone. He won't. I think he'll just be emotional to us. That's it.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I never saw my dad cry. Ever.
We literally talked about this last episode. You just haven't heard it yet because it came out.
Now, now I will tell you this. Are we good there? I just felt I don't want to say played with him, but I felt Dylan. I felt like Dylan was our entertainment.
Yeah.
For the first few years, and then Jacob came.
And it wasn't like I was saying. It wasn't just you guys.
But the thing that pissed me off though is Dylan was very accelerated in his learning. Very. When he started kindergarten, it was known. Holy shit, this kid is on another level than other kindergartners. You know what I'm saying? So then you bring Jacob along, and then when they both get up to where they're in school, now it's well, you're not Dylan Thacker.
Yeah, that's where it became a lot of pressure. Teachers were saying it, and then my grandma used to say it.
Of course he's not. Yeah.
Okay,
but now here's the deal. Real quick before you crack that one, August 12th, baby, let's go. Yes, to the man, Mr. Rittenauer.
To Pops.
Yep, you're good.
Appreciate that.
So it's
we probably got that whole cheers in there, though.
From the dad perspective of it, especially back then, he didn't have kids. You weren't in relationships. So the potential there for you to excel and do everything you could to make it work was there. If it didn't work out, then
okay, so let me ask you this. How do you feel about now?
As far as...
Yeah. Did we make it work? What's going on now?
Okay. So I'll tell you, I say to you sometimes, man, I'm proud of you. What are you proud of me for? Okay, listen.
That's just an easy, push it off.
Okay,
though.
And I agree. A parent can have a sense of pride
sure.
in their children for no reason at all.
I think there has to be a reason.
I was never a military man.
It's because you're not a parent
I was
yet.
never a military man.
No, but some aren't proud.
My old man was Air Force. Now, granted, my old man wasn't in the Air Force because he wanted to be. He was in the Air Force because he just wanted to leave home. So
I was about to say that he gets
So
drafted.
I am very proud of you because you went and served your country in whatever capacity. You went and served your country. Kudos.
Thanks, guys.
And not only that, why did you do it?
Pay for school.
To pay for school. How many people would have just said, "Fuck it, I'll just incur this debt and I won't even worry about it."
I still accrued a lot of debts.
Okay, and listen, and that's fine. But how much did you save because the military paid for it?
A lot.
Or that you hustled to get it taken care of? A lot. So in that aspect, Dylan, I've always seen you as a hustler. You are not a
I'll give you I'm a hustler.
Listen, you are a worker. Your brother is a worker. You boys are not slackers.
I'll give you that one.
You boys are not slackers by any stretch. And for that fact, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of your brother. Like you guys put in the work. You guys put in the effort. You know what I'm saying? Whatever comes out the other end may not be, but then that goes back to
I got something I could talk about on that.
He's going to have to work a little harder next week or next month or whatever.
And guess what? You learn a fucking lesson in there to be better. So that way the next week you go into it, you're better than you were the previous week to learn, develop, and grow.
So for you, like I told you, I said, listen, when I got here, I said, hey, Jacob says to tell you what's up. Mom says give you a hug.
Yeah.
And I said, I feel bad because, I take these trips like this. Bro, you know how much I would have loved to got in that truck this morning at 4 a.m. with Jacob.
Oh, I would have loved that, dude.
In Terrick, North Carolina with me, my two boys, and this crew.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We'd
I
have
would've loved
a
it.
blast.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And Jacob's in that position where he is 100% dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me very proud of him. You know what I'm saying? That, hey, listen, I'm a dad. I work my 10-hour days. I pull in my dad duty. I'm husband to a wife who...
Oh, no, Jacob's one of the, I have a lot of friends with kids at this point. Jacob's one of the best
100%,
dads, husbands,
100%.
Overall, partners I've actually seen. I'll give him his props on that one, 100%.
So it's, for me...
we give him a lot of shit, like you're a pussy, whatever. But it's actually not pussy at all. I actually, I don't have kids, so I can't be that person. But I do give him a lot of respect for it, the way he is, as a family man. Because he's still, you haven't met him yet, but I'm telling you, we're the same person, just, different. For sure. I don't know how to explain, the same but different.
Okay.
Yep.
We both know Dylan. Jacob's just like Dylan, but, and
also, a little more ruthless.
Yeah, he has.
And I know, that's not possible. You don't think that's possible?
He has, a side to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just for example, so Sunday, I told you we went kayaking early in the morning. I go to get off this launch. I'm dragging my boat. Angie's trying to get in. There's two dudes fishing. So I grab my boat. I go to roll. I slipped and fell on a roller that, busted my ass. But I'm thinking, don't fall on your knee. But I fell on my ass. Shelby's like, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't laugh at your dad. He's like, well, seeing as I was the only person rowing this fucking boat, I didn't have time to watch my dad fall. So it's bro, he just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
so
that's what it comes down to. He literally I say all the time. I say it all the time. I don't care. He legitimately, more than anyone I know, does not give a fuck to say whatever, wear whatever, do whatever. He doesn't care. Dude. He's gonna be him 100%.
He was shirt unbuttoned. Or no, when he went to that concert with Shelby and them. Shirt unbuttoned, didn't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, the one we went to, we were matching. We had our sleeveless flannels.
I remember that.
The one he went to with his wife was even worse. I'll find a pic for you.
I respect that 100%. But as far as my kids go, it's okay for a parent to feel pride for their child for no reason whatsoever.
Yep.
Other than the fact that you're my kid. And you ain't been in jail. You're not whatever. So we have some pluses in this column.
Yeah. We haven't been there yet.
But and you'll see it when you have kids and you get on that path in your life. You'll see. You'll be like, man, it'll go back to what I talked about. Man, Pops was right about this.
Yeah.
He wasn't wrong when he told me this. But
yeah, it's crazy how much I look back and I'm like, my fucking dad was onto something. Oh, fuck, this is what Pops meant when he said this. And so it's wild because when you look back, you reflect on all of that stuff and you're like, damn, there there was the lessons in there. There was the things I should have listened to, or the things I now see. So it's cool to see that, because I mean, just like we talked about, Jacob's kids are going to look at him and be like, oh, fucking dad did this, or mom said this. So it's funny that I guess.
I can't wait.
Yeah, right.
I can't wait.
Shelby posts too much. I can't find it.
It's okay.
What was it?
I was going to find that picture of Jacob at that concert.
Oh, I could probably find it. It's probably in like one of my pictures. Like
he probably put it on the fucking.
Sent it to us.
They have like there's too much searching. I was already trying. They have like a digital photo frame at home, and so you can just upload photos to it. My brother will put the most random photos.
My mom's got one of those. She's been asking me to put pictures on that for a year. I need to do that.
I've never put one. I don't even have the link.
Is it wrong that I wanted to start deleting some pics?
I mean, we're not going to go there.
Would you like to elaborate?
Oh, no, you can delete them off the photo frame, because I saw them last time I was home. Oh, that's it. Damn, he found that quick.
Oh. Shelby sent it to me.
Hell yeah, baby.
He didn't give up. Like, he was like, whatever.
He's losing weight, bro. He's proud.
Fuck yeah.
Might as well be. Hell yeah.
Show that shit, baby.
Yeah, so.
There's one thing that I did want to do on here, and I think I told Dylan, unless I dreamt it, but I wanted to. One thing that I see is, like, on some of the, I would say, like, more hip-hop industry podcasts that I watch, they make it a point to give people their flowers.
You told us on the last week.
Yeah, and not give them to them when it's too late.
Yeah.
So, like, I never got to give my dad his flowers.
Yep.
And I told Dylan, I was like, while your dad's on here, I want to give him his flowers, because I don't truly think you know how much you've impacted me in my life, and I don't think you truly know how much you mean to me. And
dude, I don't even know what you're about to say, and I might cry.
Seeing the relationship that you and Dylan have gets me emotional talking about it, because it's something that I see that my dad and I had. And although every day is not all sunshines and rainbows, at the end of the day, you guys know you love each other. Absolutely. You guys express that to each other, and you guys show that through your actions. And so I know that you guys have had disagreements, but you guys solve them instantly, or you get over them. And that's one thing that my dad and I did as well. Yeah. And so the Tommie T that I know as a once who used to be a son that turned into a husband, that has kids, that's now a grandfather, who's retired, who lives out his passions of golfing and going on his car trips and to those shows, traveling to see Dylan around the world wherever he is, taking the time to take vacations, not only with your kids, but your grandkids, treating Angie the way you do, even though I haven't seen that interaction. Somebody like myself, who you may not think realizes all of these things or sees all of these things in you, I wanted to let you know that, like, thank you. Because my time around you, from the first time I met you at a campground, and you tried my spiked Gatorade, and we're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, kid?
Faderade.
My Faderade. To now visiting
Freddie
not only...
Freddie Wop.
Yep. Trying my Faderade to now visiting not only Dylan in his new city, but visiting me.
For sure.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
And on those days that
yes, sir. All right, yes, sir.
On those days where, and I don't know if you have those days, but on those days where you don't think that you're doing enough, or those days where you're questioning if you could have done something better, I just want you to know that you impact more people's lives than you may realize. And because of that, you make those people, myself included, better, and want them to live a happier life. So thank you.
It's always awkward getting those, though, isn't it?
Appreciate it.
It's never easy to get those. Well, it's like, what do I say back now?
You don't think about it, but I mean, on that same token, like, there are so many times that I think about, like, obviously I think about them all the time.
Yep.
But then I think about you guys and your endeavor for DTI and what it stands for and what it's trying to accomplish, and I'm like, just reach out to them. Mm-hmm. And then for whatever reason, it gets squelched back. Like, listen, they're 29 years old. They got women. They're busy. They're doing. Some of them have women.
I don't have a woman.
But they're doing this. They're doing that. And I always pull myself back. So with that being said, from this point moving forward, anytime I think about, like, let me just reach out and give Freddie a rose, or let me reach out and give Dylan a rose, I'm gonna do it. And we like, you say that, but
you
like,
do it. You're very good about it. And I'll say, like, you're good about it with everybody. So, like, for Christmas, like, he started saying, which I don't know where it went, but it was around, where everyone draws a random name and you don't tell anybody, and you write them like a heartfelt letter.
I'm down.
So it's like just my like immediate family.
I'm down with
that.
zero
And then you just
gifts,
exchange letters.
Like, I don't need, just like what we talked about earlier, I don't need anything. Like, I'm set. But I told him, I said, look, we're going to draw names. and you're going to get the name of a person. Let's say if I draw you, I'm going to write you a heartfelt note that you can keep in your
I have them all.
Box
Every
or
single
your
one.
nightstand
Yep.
forever.
Yep.
I don't have any letters that my dad wrote me.
Moving here, I found them all, and I
have
just crying in my
letters
closet
that
floor.
my mom wrote me. Bro, you couldn't. There isn't enough money on this planet to get those out of my possession. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So for me, those things mean more to me. And not only that, like, bro, and listen, I'm not trying to regurgitate feelings or relationships or whatever, but I have letters from people who are no longer in this circle that they mean something to me, regardless of how the outcome came out. And like, we still talk and we're still cordial and we still reach out. But it's like the fact that for that short period of time, that
you still had a relationship and a
Correct.
connection at some point.
Correct. That these people could mean, like, that I could mean that much to this person in that short of time is amazing to me.
Yep.
Amazing to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always, like, I fuck with him all the time. I'm like, bro, you didn't give me shit for Father's Day. You didn't. My birthday and Father's Day are really, like,
Days
usually,
apart.
Like, the day. Like, sometimes it's the day, sometimes it's the
I think this year was the same day.
I'm like, you didn't give me nothing, blah, blah, blah. But I've always told, I mess with him, but I'm like, look, bro, it doesn't matter what you get me. Like, I would much rather have you just, if you just sat down, folded a piece of paper in half and wrote "Happy Birthday, Dad" on the front and drew a little picture, and then inside wrote me a note. I'll be just as tickled to death.
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't, you know.
Thank God I like to write.
Yeah. So
It's like that's saying pictures are worth 1,000 words or whatever.
Sure.
Like,
I love him when he starts a saying that he doesn't fully know.
Yeah,
Like, he like starts it and then he always
loud.
like hesitates and finishes it. He does it all. He's like, that's what I'm saying, and then he pulls it out.
Because
bro, I
like,
have cards from them, from Angie, from over the years, like, just stacks.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, bro.
I literally have a note in my wallet. My grandma's on her deathbed, and she knew she was going to show everybody a note, and it's in my wallet. It's right there at all times.
Did I ever tell you about my note?
I don't like pulling mine out.
Did I ever tell you about
Makes
mine?
me sad. Yeah.
So my mom was like, bless her heart. So she wrote all these notes down, and then she flips a page, and then she writes them all down again. So my note is on the back of my sister's note. So Karen has the note, but my note, Karen also has my note. So
Whose was the better note?
Well, mom's was
Karen
pretty,
reads
mom's
your dad, so she
mom's
feels
was
better.
pretty generic because she, and this is what I say, my mom was smart. My mom left me and Angie a laundry list.
She also didn't
You have to do
hide
this,
her
this.
favorites.
She knew she was going. She knew me and Angie could handle it. She knew we could figure it out. And she's like, I want you guys to do this, this, and this. And it was.
And she's very open with who the favorite everything was.
She took it out of everybody's
Kid,
hands.
grandkid, it didn't matter. She was like, fuck it, I'll just let everybody know.
She took it out of everybody.
She's like, there don't have to be a fight over who's favorite. I'll tell you right now.
She called all the girls in. She's like, I want you to know right now. Don't question it. He's got this. And I'm like, okay.
damn.
Talk about a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
But, whatever.
I know that we're far in to the podcast, and I told you that we could go another 4 hours, and I would love it because there's
It'd be
a
great,
list of
but-
questions I haven't even got to.
I
But
don't think I've read any of mine.
One that, and this will be my last one. Dylan, you can keep going as long as you want.
I'll pull one.
But my one question is, what is your why, and when did you find out what your why was in life?
So, I feel like I am a very compassionate person. Like, I feel like I connect with people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's weird, but I mean, I know who I'm vibing with within minutes.
Yep.
And I feel like it's easy for me to reach out to those people. And bro, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. Like, I know I'm not the perfect example of, what a godly man should be or what a Christian should be. But I also know that we're all human, that we've all fell short. So for me, it's easy for me to be like, you know what? I could fix that right now. And I can say, you know what? Forgive me of my trespasses, but I got this guy I want to bring before you or whatever. So for me, it's easy for me to, and a lot of people will be like, you're whatever, you're a hypocrite. Listen, bro, I'm just being real with you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Life is hard. And it makes it even harder when you have people like that hounding hounding you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So for me, I feel like I just feel like I'm just one of them guys that I can come, like you can come to me with anything and I'll try my best to work it out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like my why in life is like, he couldn't have gave me 2 better kids. Like like I said, they ain't been in any trouble. Yes, they've done their fair share of whatever.
Yep.
But, you know.
He set me up where I'm getting arrested at night.
through thick and thin, I know for 100% those boys are all about, and I can't speak on my whole family because it's kind of like.
Nah, it's immediate family is very different.
What family isn't dysfunctional?
Yeah.
Correct?
Oh, facts.
But like, I know immediately, like me, Angie, Brooke, Shelby, Jacob, the kids, Dylan, never mind. But I know without a doubt. And
not anymore. I just excommunicated them all.
And even that one, like I reached out to her on her birthday. I love her to death. She's a good girl. She just, you know.
But I mean, for where you're going, I mean, I think if something happened,
yeah,
she'd still have your back.
Yeah.
Just shit didn't work out.
And I think that's the thing is I think when these people come around us, even your first one, I think to this day. She has no ill towards me. I have no ill towards her.
Yeah.
And I feel she knows what it is. She's getting what she gets. And
we're a very tight-knit group, and people can feel that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know? And I feel like having known them, I shouldn't say them, having known Dylan, and then you, Matt, Justin, you know, Brian, Brandon. Like, Brandon's like my son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like all these boys, they're like, you guys are like my extended sons, basically.
Yep.
You know, and then you got Jacob, and then he's starting to get his group of friends with his married couples. And it's like, so then you start interacting with the grandkids, and I'm introduced to this guy, or I'm introduced to this guy. So Jacob's like, you know this guy. I'm like, oh yeah. You know, I would say his name, but but there's like 2 guys that he talks to, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy that you do the F1 stuff with. He's like,
I never even met him, but I know him all. Or just through that, like golf
and we play golf together.
F1.
And it's like, so you just develop that relationship with all of them. You know what I'm saying? Shelby, same way. I do this grandparent
day
PTA thing with the kids, so I see all the women too, because you know I'm there, and it's like, so then I start knowing them, and it's like, so for me, I think that is my purpose in life. Like I'm a help. I'm going to do whatever I can to help you.
Servant mindset.
Yeah. Like and listen, that. Bro, and I'm of the mindset that
you're 100%. And it's also like a flaw to a point, because he would help anyone at any time, even if he knows they would never give it back.
Yeah. I don't need a contract from you. If you tell me, Tommy, I'm going to be there tomorrow at noon, I'm going to expect you there at noon. If I tell you, look, Monday at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be at your house. For whatever the reason, you better believe I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
And that's just me. So, and listen,
except when it comes to a boat.
Yeah, and like he said, to some degree...
Well, you're not even going, motherfucker.
I know.
To some degree, it is a fault. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't... I mean, if anything, my old man and Irvin Martin taught me over the years, that means more. That camera just shut down.
It died, and that's his view.
So, it's okay.
And I have...
Should we put the phone up?
If you can, real quick. Because I got one question coming in. I'm going to
hit me with it.
One final question. And I'll preface it by saying, I hope you're here for another 52 plus years.
I don't know if I want to be here for another 52, but...
We talked about this last week, though.
Appreciate the sentiment.
If you could live it healthily, you wouldn't be against it. We literally talked about the same thing last week.
For sure.
But, unfortunately, you know, at some point, you're going to be gone. So if there's one thing that you could be remembered for, what would you want it to be?
Oh, man. I think it would have to be like what we just talked about. Like, to a fault, I'm a man of my word. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I want people to be like, that guy right there, he'd give the shirt off his back for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, across the page. So, run it back. Every year we do a golf trip to Florida. And, I mean, we're just having a big time this year. And there's guys from all over. The one guy's from, like, South Miami, but he was originally from Puerto Rico. And every Saturday that we're there, that's our last night there. And we golfed during the day. We figured up all of our golf for the week. And this guy was like, him and I connected the year my mom got diagnosed with cancer when I went down. I told Angie, I said, look, I'm going to go. I don't want to go, but there was so much stuff going on. And I was like, I really want to get my mom a chair. Like, if she could be in the living room, we need to get her moved out of this. You know, like if she wants to sit, she could just lay there, let the seat sit her down.
Yep.
Let the seat stand her up, you know, whatever. For whatever reason, my sister was like, I'm like, you're not spending a dime. Me and Angie's going to pay for this. Like, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Giving me shit. Well, I was at this restaurant, and I said, I got to go outside and take this call. So I had went outside while he was out there smoking. And me and Angie was talking, and I was just so overwhelmed that I was crying. And he's like, Tom, you okay, my brother? What's going on, big boy? And I said, well, my mom they diagnosed her with cancer. And I said, and I don't know why, but my sisters are being shits about it. You know, I'm just trying to help my mom out, whatever. And he's like, Tom, I'm going to pray for you. I said, oh, man, I appreciate it. And this was the first time I'd ever met this dude. So I walked away from him. So rewind that back to this year. We're there, and we're just having a big time. The whole house is whatever. The guys bring the food. They sit the food down. I mean, it is a Hispanic spread of food you've never seen. And, I mean, everybody's just hooting and hollering. He's like, Tommie, you're going to ask their blessing. And, bro, I never even missed a beat. I said, all right, everybody bow your heads. And, bro, 20 dudes and the workers that came, dead silence. I thank the Lord for giving us the help to chase around a little white ball for 4 days. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for the people. Like, just like it was like as if it was just me and the Lord laying there talking.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's one thing I don't know if I have, because you always have that. I don't know if I could do that in front of people.
Bro, everybody was just like they were just, that's what I'm saying, bro. I can be that guy, but I can also be this other guy.
Yep.
Like, I don't want you to think that this is all you're getting here. Like,
should be remembered for you in totality, not like
there is more to me. Actually. There is more to me than just this. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, I want to be remembered for, like, I want people to, like, I think if anything, I think
every part of you.
Yeah, I think, you know, your word should mean you should have a certain degree of
pride. I definitely got that about you.
You should have a certain degree of pride about your word. If you tell me you're going to do this, then you should do it.
Yep.
Doggone it, you should do it.
Yep.
If nothing else, for your own sake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told him this, I'm going to do it. And I tell Angie that all the time. I'm like, look, I told him.
Yep.
And I said, Angie, I'm telling you right now, I don't care what happens between here and there. I told this guy this was going to happen, and I'm going to do it. And she's like, you're right. And listen, bless her heart, for 35 years, she's let me do it.
Yep.
You know, I'll tell her, look, I've got this going on, that going on. I'll do this to somebody's car, this to somebody's clubs, this to whatever. And she lets me go out in the garage. And
he's gripping Tone's club this weekend. Tone left the club.
Really?
She lets me go out in the garage and do me. You know, and I'm just hustling, piddling. I'm not getting rich. I'm making golf money, but I ain't making, you know, it's not setting off into the sunset or nothing, but, you know, so.
That's awesome.
We appreciate you coming on, giving us 2 hours of your time here.
Very much.
I mean, I feel like we've just rambled, but it's.
Oh, that's what a podcast is, man. You ever watch Joe Rogan?
Nice. Yeah, I have. I appreciate you boys more than you know.
It definitely won't be the last time you're on.
More than you know. And it's, you know, just like you said with the roses, there's times that I think, listen, Freddie and Dylan said this, if I can do this, this, and this, and I can rein it back in, and, you know, because we've all been there.
Yeah,
yep.
100%.
Yep. So, appreciate you boys. Much love.
Appreciate you.
We're going to golf tomorrow. We got more golf than the pool, than the fight, so we got a fun weekend ahead of us. Like Dylan said, really, really appreciate you jumping on. This one we are going to cherish, not only for this week, but for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, like I said, you haven't heard it because we said it last week, but I was like, this is going to be a conversation that lives on. Like, Addie and Maverick will be able to watch when they get older. Like, there'll be more people by then. They could have kids who they never met you, and now they get to see. Now they get to see like a different side of you in a whole conversation. So it's going to be cool, man.
Appreciate it. Thank
you.
Thank
with all of that said, people, have conversations with the people that you love, that you care about. Ask them the questions that you don't really think of asking them, because there are elders, and we don't think to ask our parents.
He's called you an elder?
Well, I mean, he is.
I'm down with it.
Yeah, I mean, anybody older than you is an elder.
Listen, man, reach out.
You saying I'm an elder?
I don't care what you think. what you think in your head had transpired or what maybe have happened.
You've probably blown it up out of proportion.
Yes, you have probably overthought the whole situation.
Yeah.
And all it's going to take is one phone call for you to call and be like, hey, man, listen, I dropped the ball here. Or, hey, man, I ain't talked to you in a minute. How about we catch up? Hey, about, whatever.
Yep.
Like, I guarantee it's more self-inflated than you think.
Always.
Yep.
Always. I mean, people are...
People.
Listen, we are a hurting humanity. You know what I'm saying? We are just aching for somebody to hug.
Yeah, we want to be in community.
For sure.
Yep. Definitely. Sure. Well, you heard Tommie say it, so all I got to end with is kiss your mama on the forehead. That's it, baby. It's on.
Peace.